News 12 Long Island's Andrew Enger is in Texas. Today he was with some Long Islanders on the New York City Urban Search and Rescue Task Force.
1, 2, 3, go.
They brought boats, specialized equipment, and supplies all the way from New York to help those stranded by Hurricane Harvey's floodwaters.
You want to stay or you want to leave?
Members of the New York City Urban Search and Rescue Task Force fanned out through Sweeney, Texas, about 70 miles south of Houston. The waters here flooding many homes and stranding some.
There's a whole subdivision down there, at least 13 or 14 homes that everybody's still in.
The task force is made up of highly trained members of the NYPD, FDNY, and EMS. And Kenneth Hunter was glad to see them.
Never in my wildest dream I imagined all this raised up like this.
His 64-year-old mother was having breathing problems after being stuck in their home without electricity for 5 days and the water rising. He called for help, not knowing it would come from a team of New Yorkers.
Beautiful, it's beautiful. I highly appreciate it, man. I highly appreciate it.
Kind of not the accent you expected when they knocked on your door, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But not everyone was so pleased to see the rescuers.
Okay, we'll leave.
Now, in some cases, homeowners here don't want to go and would prefer to shelter in place, so the task force is moving on.
We can't make them leave, but we can certainly offer assistance and see if they want to go.
Though the water conditions were calm this day, in other parts of Sweeney on Wednesday, fast-moving waters trapped a farmer in his tractor. The task force deployed their boats and was able to rescue the man.
His only concern was how much it was going to cost him. We said, don't worry, for free on New York, don't worry.
In Sweeney, Texas, Andrew Enger, News 12.
It's 5 a.m. at the Marriott Hotel in New York City. Chris Levy has a big day ahead of him. He's getting ready for the race of a lifetime. But he says this is not a race he needs to win. It's one that will instead show his endurance despite his disability. Levy, a wounded military vet from Holbrook, will test his physical limits as he walks 3 miles through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel in what's known as the Tunnel to Towers Run. 2,400 West Point cadets line the route. As they run through the tunnel, the cheering gets louder.
You can't explain the feeling of like seeing them run by and them chanting in unison, and it's it's awesome.
This is the same tunnel that determined New York City firefighter Steven Siller raced through with 60 pounds of gear on his back and gave his life trying to save others on 9/11. Levy followed a similar call to duty, but his journey led him to the battlefield. In March of 2008, the Army corporal lost both his legs when a pipe bomb blew up near his Humvee in Iraq.
I figured as long as I fought to stay alive, they would do everything they could to keep me alive.
After years of rehab, Chris is now one of thousands who are following Siller's footsteps through the tunnel.
Way to go, well done, nice job.
In what could be the most emotional part of the race is when Chris comes out of the tunnel. Here he's greeted by first responders who wear the pictures of the 343 fallen firefighters who lost their lives on 9/11. And when it's hard for Chris to push through, it's the cheers and the applause he gets along the way that get him through this.
Nice job.
As Chris nears the finish line,
Awesome job. Thank you for being here.
he says it's certainly not the end of his mission to remember the sacrifices made by first responders on 9/11. Antoinette Biordi, News 12, Long Island.
Donald Trump himself is weighing in on his performance tonight. Here's what he had to say to reporters in Spin Alley.
Mr. Trump, why do you think you won tonight? Why do you think you won tonight?
Well, I think we got the point across. It's about making America great again, and I think we got the point across. I'm very happy about the way it worked out. I think we did very well. I'm very happy.
And how did your opponent do?
It's the same talk. It's always talk. Nothing happens. She's been there for years. Nothing's happening.
Well, prison time for former state Senate Majority Leader Dean Skelos and his son Adam. News 12 Long Island's Andrew Enger was in the courtroom when the two were sentenced for corruption.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Former State Senator Dean Skelos from Rockville Center had no comment for reporters as he was whisked away moments after being sentenced to 5 years behind bars on corruption and bribery charges. Skelos was found guilty in December of using his powerful political influence to get his son Adam hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts and no-show jobs. Moments later, Adam was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison.
Any comment, Adam, that you got a longer sentence than your dad? Any comment?
During sentencing, U.S. District Judge Kimball Wood said the Skelos' actions did incalculable damage to New Yorkers' trust in government officials. Dean Skelos apologized to the court, saying, "Somewhere my judgment became clouded. Somewhere I let things go off the rails." Through sobs, Adam Skelos begged for mercy for his father, saying that he was to blame for the crimes. He said, "I am deeply regretful for what I have done, and I want to be a better person." Last week, former State Assembly leader Sheldon Silver was sentenced to 12 years behind bars on corruption charges. U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara said in a statement to News 12, the nearly simultaneous convictions of Sheldon Silver and Dean Skelos, whose corruption crimes were laid bare during fair and public trials, have no precedent. And while Silver and Skelos deserve their prison sentences, the people of New York deserve better. State government watchdog groups outside court agreed, saying the guilty verdicts send a message to future politicians who may try to use their office for personal gain.
The days of using your public office for private gain should be over. If you do that, you face time in the slammer.
At 5 and 6.5 years behind bars, Dean and Adam Skelos only received a fraction of the prison time that prosecutors wanted. They could have faced 12 to 15 years behind bars. Now, Dean Skelos will have to pay a $500,000 fine, and he and his son will also have to forfeit over $300,000 of illegally gotten money. A date for their surrender has yet to be set. We're live outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Andrew Enger, News 12, Long Island. Stone, Colleen.
Here we go. Short step. It's a good one.
It's a position no one wants to find themselves in, being attacked and having to fight back.
You're now loaded. I continue, you can send a strike. Ooh, good one. Not the one right on me.
There are basic self-defense moves that anyone can learn, like giving that quick, open-handed upper jab to the sternum or face. But before it gets to that point of confrontation, experts say some street smarts can make you less of a target.
You drop your guard low enough, there's going to be somebody there willing to take advantage.
We met up with Steve Cardian, an FBI defense tactics instructor with 30 years of law enforcement experience. We went to 2 parking lots in Mineola just to watch people.
She's looking down, she's on the phone. She has not only a bag over her shoulder, but she's preoccupied.
In his new book, The New Superpower for Women, Cardian tells people to learn to trust your intuition. Always scan the area in front of you. Glance back when walking, make brief eye contact with people as you pass them, and walk with purpose. And in this illustration, you can see that posture is also important. Chin up, shoulders back.
You want to look at your stride. You want your steps to be smooth. As I'm walking by, I may just look either at you for a split second or in your direction to put you on notice. I know you're there, and if you're up to no good, you picked the wrong person.
And we hid behind a van and watched to see how people responded to Cardian getting uncomfortably close in a parking lot.
When I'm following them, they haven't really got a clue. Bag is on the arm open, and they haven't thought to look back. They're soft targets.
And another vulnerable position we find ourselves in coming home at day or night. You're approaching your front door. I'm wearing this GoPro camera to show you what's going to happen here. I've now been attacked from behind. What should I do?
Drop your chin and try to make him to choke around your jaw.
Like
all
this?
Right? First. Now, immediately following that, you're going to use both your arms to pry this arm off of your neck. Okay? You're going to turn, face your opponent. If your opponent, or your predator, I should say, continues to attack, you're going to take your fingers and you're going to drive them first into the eye socket, both sides, push back with both hands.
Putting my thumbs in his eye socket.
Into his eye sockets. Okay. The idea is that the brain is only about 2 inches behind the eye.
And Dominic Macchio, a certified self-defense trainer at the UFC gym in New Hyde Park, also showed me some other pressure points to keep in mind.
His pressure points are here and here?
Yep, here and here. You're going to be digging it. Actually, I want you to grab here. I want you to bend this thumb this way. That way. So you're driving it in. There it is.
Okay.
That's all right. You can hurt him a little bit. You can turn his head to the side. You can take your thumb and jam it into his ear.
Both Macchio and Cardian say if someone wants your property, just give it to them and run. But if there's no way out of a physical confrontation,
fight back, because the predator is afraid of 2 things: getting hurt and getting caught.
And you're going to throw that same strike that you did to the sternum, only to the face. Step back.
In New Hyde Park, Eileen LaPalmer, News 12 Long Island.
Yeah, Kev, they're still here. We got the band back together. Yeah, we got Islander fans. Yeah. We have the Islanders. We had the Coliseum. And I heard this chant. I've heard this one before. Let's go Islanders! And for the first time ever, we heard this one. Bring them back! Bring them back! Bring them back! Bring them back!
Welcome back, Islanders! We love our team. We want them home.
Today, the fans made that loud and clear.
Yes, yes, yes!
Who says he can't go home? John Bon Jovi said it, and now we're all saying it!
Making the new Coliseum feel like the old barn again.
We've waited 2 years for this day. Hockey lives on Long Island.
It just feels like I'm a kid again. I'm gonna tell you, it feels like lipstick on a pig.
That's because the Islanders were back only for a day, greeted by a sold-out crowd who wants them out of the Barclays Center and back on Long Island for good.
Brooklyn doesn't compare to this, you know? And this is something we all want as fans, and we want them back here.
To have them back today means everything to us.
What's the message maybe these fans are sending to the NHL by packing this place on a lazy Sunday?
Bring the Islanders back where they belong, on Long Island.
But the NHL says that's never going to happen, and there are no more games scheduled at the Coliseum after today. So Mike from Malvern figured if you can't bring them back, just don't let them leave.
There's no reason that this team should ever have left here. There's no reason that they should ever leave again. This is their home. Listen to the crowd. You know it. You know this is our home. Everybody knows this is our home. No more baloney. Let us come home and stay there.
Trades, self-employed. Unfortunately, Mike from Malvern was unsuccessful. The Islanders did leave the building. Maybe one day they'll be back. The chance maybe they work, and if that doesn't work, look at Christopher. Christopher, how much do you want the Islanders back? Give him puppy dog eyes. Oh, if the NHL doesn't bite on that, I don't know what they're biting on. Good job, everybody. Let's go Islanders for the rest of the season. In Uniondale, Kevin Marr, News 12 Long Island.
On a Saturday night in Mineola, Dr. Melinda Edwards leads her choir.
Art and music are what make us human.
These are not professional singers, at least not most of them. They are students. These adults are just some of the children that Dr. Edwards taught and inspired from the mid-1960s to the mid-90s as the chorus teacher at Baldwin High School.
She opened up my love of music. I'm a musician now.
Her surprise party this evening turned into a concert, a reunion too, a love fest of sorts for a retired teacher who knew she had had an impact, but not like this.
There has never been a better choir director.
It's just overwhelming. I mean, it just brought tears to my eyes. I can't believe how many of my wonderful students showed up for this.
When I'm feeling the sick, when I'm feeling the sick.
Over 100 of her former students traveled from more than 10 states to be here. They say she taught them how to hit the high note in music and in life.
Lessons about self-discipline and responsibility and always trying to strive for your best.
Every day I use what she taught me. Every day.
The lessons have endured, and so has the music.
I don't have words for it. It's really emotional for me.
The folks here say this proves one thing: great teachers and great music can make all the difference. In Mineola, Rich Barabi, News 12 Long Island.
I'm standing on a mini mountain of snow right now. We're in Comac, and the plows have really done their work at parking lots like this one. We've seen plows and salt trucks head up and down Jericho Turnpike, cleaning up the main roads and cleaning up parking lots at local businesses like at this shopping center. Now you can probably make out the winds are still quite strong, so on certain stretches of roads that have been plowed, we're seeing a new coating of snow, a new dusting of snow because of all the snow that's blowing about. For the most part, people seem to have been heeding the advice of county officials, which is to stay home so that plows can be on the roads doing their job. We're in Comac. I'm Jessica Borg, News 12, Long Island.
You're standing in history, and that's one of the things that we really wanted to bring back.
John and Nick DeVito opened Charlotte's Speakeasy on Main Street in Farmingdale this past November. They hope to make the space into the hotspot it was back in the 1920s.
The previous village historian had paperwork that showed that it was a ladies' clothing store upstairs and a speakeasy downstairs, somewhere in the 1920s.
Speakeasies were the illegal joints during the times of 1920s prohibition. That was when alcohol was off limits in the U.S. The DeVito brothers owned Charlotte's Frozen Yogurt on the main level, but they reopened the 1920s speakeasy in the cellar after finding clues about the building's past, like this hidden escape route.
Do you realize you're standing where people were hiding out almost 100 years ago from the cops and looking to that back door and hoping that they weren't going to see the cops come in and they'd have to make a run for it.
Historians say Farmingdale's South Shore was perfect for alcohol distribution.
It was very easy to land foreign alcohol on the shore, and once it was on the island, there are a number of routes, whether you're looking at roads or the railroad, to get it into small villages like, say, Farmingdale.
This may look like your typical bookshelf, but it's actually a secret entrance to the bar. I'm here for the speakeasy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Good thing I know the password. Daisy?
I believe she's downstairs.
The excitement in the room, this place just lights up.
In Farmingdale, Justine Ray, News 12 Long Island.
Are we ready to get this party started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Big night for music here on Long Island.
Yes. Yes. Is Billy Joe here?
Not yet.
Oh, no, okay.
He's coming though.
Billy brought his family, and other big names in the music business came out to celebrate some of our best at the Long Island Music Hall of Fame inductions.
Why is this such an important thing for Long Island to have?
This is home. This is where we're from. This is who we are. This is it. This is Long Island. You know? Know what I'm saying?
Big-time Billy fans taking back Sunday got their photo with their idol and their place in the Hall of Fame as they get ready to kick off their 20th anniversary world tour.
We were playing in Mark's parents' basement and in Baldwin and Rockville Center, and then so to be here now is just, it's very surreal for us. We thought maybe they read the wrong name on the ticket and we just showed up.
Other honorees included Bayville's Jimmy Webb.
I've come a long way to get this award in Long Island.
And legendary DJ Cousin Brucey.
Excuse me for a moment.
Okay. I'll take it. There's a lot of love on this red carpet tonight.
Yes. I'm a fanboy of a Cousin Brucey. Are you kidding?
He's the best.
Roosevelt native, Public Enemy's Chuck D did the honors inducting hip-hop heavyweights and Brentwood rappers Eric Sermon and Parrish Smith of EPMD before they brought down this house.
30 years since this came out.
That's correct.
So this induction is a long time coming. So what does it mean to you guys?
It means everything. It means all the works and the dreams and the struggling and the hustling. You know, we're being recognized. They think New York and just think the city. And forget about without Long Island music, this world would be empty.
What a night. So many memorable moments at the Space at Westbury. Elisa DiStefano, News 12 Long Island. This is the Oyster Bar, and we are here at a new seafood spot appropriately named Kingfish. This is the Queen's platter. All right, move it over to the Queen.
Tucked inside the Vanderbilt luxury apartment building in Westbury, Kingfish is famed Long Island chef Tom Chaudell's newest restaurant.
It's different, you know, we're trying to
kind of focus on local fishermen and local product. It's kind of fun because, you know, there's different species coming in and out seasonally.
So talk to me a little bit about your menu.
For the most part, we're trying to showcase as much fish as we can, and from the eastern seaboard. You know, we have oysters, we have 5 or 6 selections of Long Island oysters.
So what is in front of me here?
Here you have local swordfish. It was called a montauk. Basically served on top of a Parmesan and mushroom risotto.
Is that your signature salad?
Yeah, well, we have a beet salad here. It's probably our biggest selling salad. We use a couple of different kinds of beets and some peaches in there. We use a little smoked blue cheese in there just as a kind of a contrast in flavors.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
They also serve signature cocktails and delicious desserts.
I love Long Island. I'm a native son, so we're trying to be a Long Island seafood restaurant for Long Islanders. You know?
I love that. And while the weather's still nice, you can eat outside on their covered patio. For more Tasty Tuesday spots, go to our website, news12.com. In Westbury, Elisa DiStefano, News 12 Long Island.